Every year, America collects over 40 million source plasma donations.
That plasma helps produce important biological therapies.
But your donated plasma does not go straight to a hospital. Instead, it enters a supply chain lasting several months. It moves through testing, freezing, transport, and industrial protein separation. And when demand rises, the industry cannot simply make more plasma. That is because the raw material must come from people. So how does donated plasma actually become a medical product? First, source plasma differs from plasma prepared for direct transfusion. Source plasma is collected through a process called plasmapheresis.
It is collected specifically for further manufacturing.
When plasma leaves the collection machine, it is not medicine yet. It is only the starting material for biological manufacturing. And that supply chain begins before any blood is collected.
The donor must first be identified and evaluated for eligibility.
Their information becomes part of a traceable donor record.
That traceability becomes critical after plasma leaves the collection center. The plasma may later pass through several facilities and production stages. If a problem appears, the system must trace the affected unit.
It must know where that unit came from. It must also know which steps that unit passed through.
Once the donor qualifies, plasmapheresis can begin.
Blood moves from a vein into an automated separation system. The machine separates yellow plasma from the blood's cellular components. Appropriate components, especially red blood cells, return to the donor. The plasma is collected separately.
That is what makes this different from whole blood donation.
The goal is not to remove an entire unit of blood. The goal is to collect plasma for further manufacturing.
But once plasma is collected, another problem appears immediately. How do you preserve biological material while it waits?
The answer begins with temperature.
Source plasma for injectable products requires controlled frozen storage. Under standard requirements, it is kept at -20 Celsius or colder. At that point, plasma becomes a very unusual kind of cargo. It cannot move through the system like ordinary consumer goods. Freezers, temperature monitoring, and transport records must work together. This is where cold chain logistics begins. But freezing the plasma solves only one problem. The next question is whether the plasma can move forward. Donations must pass required screening and infectious disease testing.
Test samples must remain linked to each plasma unit.
The donor record must remain linked as well. If requirements are not met, that unit cannot continue. Even a satisfactory test result does not end the process. Some source plasma still cannot enter manufacturing immediately. Paid donor source plasma for injectable products faces a quarantine requirement. Federal rules require at least a 60-day quarantine period. Only then can qualifying plasma move into further manufacturing.
This detail reveals something important about the supply chain. Plasma must travel through more than physical distance. It must also pass through time, testing, and documentation.
Quality controls decide whether the material can continue.
Eventually, qualifying plasma can reach a specialized manufacturing facility. And that is where the process changes completely. Manufacturers do not treat each plasma bag as a finished product. They see a mixture containing many valuable proteins. The real goal is separating those proteins from one another. That process is called plasma fractionation. Plasma contains many different proteins dissolved together. Manufacturers carefully control temperature, pH, and ethanol concentration. Different conditions cause different protein groups to separate. Those fractions then move through additional purification steps.
Filtration may remove unwanted material.
Ultrafiltration can further concentrate selected components. Chromatography can separate proteins with even greater precision.
One production stream may become immunoglobulin. Another stream may become albumin.
Other streams may supply specialized clotting factors. Some may provide other therapeutic plasma proteins.
So one plasma bag does not have one final destination. It becomes part of a much larger manufacturing pool.
Those proteins then separate into several different product streams. But isolating the right protein still does not finish the job.
Additional purification must reduce unwanted materials. Manufacturing also includes validated viral reduction and removal steps.
The exact methods depend on the product being made.
Some processes use filtration or nanofiltration.
Others use heat or chemical treatment. Chromatography may also play another purification role. Each therapy follows its own validated manufacturing process. And here, the biology becomes a business problem.
Factories can expand capacity, but they cannot manufacture human plasma.
A beverage plant can simply order more sugar. An electronics factory can order more components. Plasma manufacturers cannot order synthetic human plasma the same way. The original material must come from eligible donors. offerings. More production, therefore, requires more than additional donors. The system also needs more collection capacity. It needs trained workers and specialized equipment. It needs testing capacity and frozen storage. It needs transportation and fractionation capacity. It also needs enough purification capacity downstream. If one stage grows too slowly, it becomes a bottleneck. That is why demand can rise faster than supply. More plasma collected today does not become medicine tomorrow. For some products, the full journey takes many months. Immunoglobulin production is a good example. The entire production cycle can extend across several months. That delay creates an unusual business challenge. Products used today depend on plasma collected months earlier. They also depend on earlier manufacturing decisions.
Inventory levels on the Eastern line are lagging. We need to reroute the collection schedule.
Agreed. Manufacturing output shows we can absorb that change by 1400 hours.
They must also manage production capacity.
They must manage inventory across different manufacturing stages. They must account for long processing times. And they must forecast future demand.
This is more than a biological process. It is a long-delay biological supply chain.
And its raw material cannot be manufactured on demand.
After fractionation and purification, more steps still remain.
Products must complete quality testing and final processing. They must be filled into their final containers. They must be packaged and formally released.
Only then can they enter medical distribution. The final product may be immunoglobulin. It may be albumin.
It may be a clotting factor. Or it may be another specialized plasma-derived therapy. By then, the original yellow plasma no longer exists unchanged. It has passed through collection and traceability. It has passed through testing and frozen storage.
It has passed through quarantine and transportation.
Then came fractionation, purification, and quality control.
Plasma. So what really happens after you donate plasma?
It does not simply travel from a center to a hospital. It enters an industrial-scale biological supply chain. Its raw material begins with a human donor. Then precision manufacturing takes over. Temperature, time, testing, and logistics all become critical.
The proteins inside plasma are separated and purified.
Those proteins eventually become regulated biological products.
And this explains why supply depends on more than factories. Every link must operate at the right capacity. That includes collection, testing, storage, transport, and manufacturing.
The plasma bag is only the visible beginning. Most of its value is created far beyond the donation chair. For the donor, the process ends when they leave. For the plasma, the most complex journey is just beginning. Thank you for watching and supporting Industry Unseen. Like and subscribe to explore more hidden systems with us.